Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, we're holding the portion of Chukas. Today is Monday, holding the portion of Chukas, chapter 19, verse number 18. So we're holding in the purification of the Para Aduma, somebody who became impure by touching a dead body, God forbid. Then he takes a ritually unfouled person must take some hyssop and dip it into the water. And he dashes it. He dashes it on the tent, and then he dashes on all the vessels that were in the tent. And all the people that were there. When a person touched a bone or a slain person, maybe a mess or a corpse, maybe a cover or a grave. In the ritual undefiled person must dash some of the solution. Bayim hashlish in the third day of impurity, bayim hashvi in the seventh day of impurity. Chita bayim hashvi, and he'll be purified on the seventh day. Chibas begadim, on the seventh day he'll go to the mikveh. Rachatz b'mayim, and he will go in the mikveh, v'tar ba'arev, and he will become pure in the evening. The evening is what makes him pure. Chita b'yamashir, Rashi says, this the end. This means his purification process ends then. Verse number 20. If a person then becomes ritually defiled, and he doesn't go and purify himself, that person will be cut off from the Jewish nation. Sorry, what's going on over here? Stay just a second. My computer went Michigan. Mikdash Hashem Time, because if you were talking about a person that comes into the Beis Hamikdash, so if he comes into the Beis Hamikdash, the temple, while he is impure, so he brought Tumah to the Beis Hamikdash, to the temple. He didn't put upon himself this purification water. Tamihu, he was impure. Verse number 21. This shall be an everlasting decree. The one who sprinkles, the one who does the sprinkling of this purification water. Also has to go to the kohen. And the guy made nida, and a person who touches this water, yitma the other becomes impure till the evening. Rashi says, Rabbi said that one who dashes remains richly undefiled. And in this statement teaches that the one who carries the purification water becomes richly defiled to a great extent, and that his clothes that he's wearing also become richly defiled, which is not the case regarding one who touches it. The reason one who carries the water refers to one who dashes it is to tell you that the water is not rendered, that the water does not render him richly defiled unless it's enough to dash with it. So this is again one of the paradoxes of this mitzvah paraduma, which purifies the person who is impure and makes impure the person who is pure. The geya, one who carries the water, he has to wait till the evening, but he doesn't have to, and he has to go to the mikveh, but he doesn't have to put his clothes into the mikveh. Verse 22, whoever is the foul person that is tummy because he touched a dead person, will be, and he touches something else, yitma, that thing becomes impure. A nefesh and the gas titma, and the person, if anyone touches such a person, Means you shake at the hands of an impure person that was tummy for a dead person, you become impure. Titma ad erev, you become pure till the evening. Rashi says, again, we're talking over here, Hazeh, we're talking, this is the ritually defiled person who became ritually defiled, he became tummy through a corpse. As I said yesterday, a person becomes impure by another dead person, that's the highest level of impurity. A nefesh gas, this person who ritually defiled through a corpse, titma ad erev, Rashi says, from here we learn that a corpse is the supreme primary level of ritual defilement. And the one who touches it becomes a regular primary level of ritual defilement. In the halacha, there's tumas mes, there's rishon l'tumah, there's sheni l'tumah, there's shlishi l'tumah, there's revi l'tumah. There's 4 different levels of impurity. There's 5. There's the highest level, tumas mes, impurity of a dead body. There's a rishon l'tumah, that's avatuma. It's called nos halach, the father of impurity. You have a rishon l'tumah, the first level of impurity. A shein l'tumah, shlishi. So a person, a dead person is avi aveis hatuma. A person who touches him, right, it says the primary level of defilement, one who touches it becomes a regular primary, becomes avatuma. See in the Hebrew you have the dead person is avi aveis hatuma, the grandfather, great grandfather of impurity. The one who touches him becomes avatuma, and the one who touches that person becomes additional to, which render another person richly defiled becomes additional to. People cannot, the person richly defiled, people cannot come richly defiled from a secondary level. So a person can only become defiled from addition, can become defiled from a secondary. This explanation is passed according to plain meaning of the law. I have, the Rashi says, I have copied an Aggadic explanation from the work of Ramesh Darshan, and here is the explanation for the last couple of verses according to Ramesh Darshan. They should take to you from their own money. Just as they moved from their own gold earrings to make the golden calf, so must they bring the animal from their own funds in order to atone them. Paraduma. Paraduma, the red cow. Why? This is a similar case to a bondservant's son who dirtied the king's palace. They said, let the mother come and clean up his mess. Similarly, let the cow come and atone, let this bull come and atone for the sin of the golden calf. Aduma, why was it red? The account of the verse is your sin proven as red as scarlet dye. So therefore, the cow had to be red because it came to forgive for the ultimate sin, the golden calf, which sin is symbolic to red. Tamima, perfect, because the Jews previously had been perfect and became blemished through the sin. So let this cow come and atone for them so they can return to their state of purification. Which no yoke laid upon it, just as they had cast off the yoke of heaven, let this cow that has no yoke come and forgive them. Eleazar Kohen to the priest, Eleazar Kohen, just as they had gathered around Aaron, who was the priest. We're going back to the golden calf. They gathered around Aaron, the priest, to make a calf, but because Aaron made the calf, the ritual was not performed by him, as the accuser cannot come and be the defender. Sort of a sapara, someone was burned the cow, just as the calf was burned, the golden calf, Moshe Rabbeinu burned the calf. 8 eres v'snishalas, cedar wood, hyssop, wool, dyed scarlet, and tolat shani, worm. These 3 materials correspond to the 3,000 men who fell for worshiping the calf. The cedar is the tallest of all trees. The hyssop is the lowest of all. This is the allusion to the haughty person who became proud and sins should humble himself like a hyssop and a worm in order to achieve atonement. The Shvaris, it should be as it keeps saying, just as the sin of the golden calf is kept for all generations as a punishment. For there's no trouble that does not contain part of the punishment of the golden calf, says the Gemara says. David says, from now on, every punishment I'll bring on the Jews will all be connected to this golden calf. So just as the golden calf defiles all those involved with it, so does the cow richly defile all those involved with preparing it. And just as they were purified by the ashes, in the golden calf, they were purified by the ashes. As it says, he scattered it in the water and made them, Israel, Moshe Rabbeinu scattered the ashes of the golden calf and he made them drink it. So to here, you must take that to the foul person some of the ashes and you have to put it in the water and sprinkle it. This is all in the teachings of Ramosha Hadarshan. Chapter 20, verse number 1. Yavis, Bnei Yisrael, and the entire community of Israel arrived in the desert of Tzin. Chodesh Harish in the first month. Yashav Ha'am Kadesh, the people stayed in Kadesh. Thomas Miriam, and Miriam died there. To cover Sham, she was buried in the desert of Tzin. Now she says, the entire community, the complete community, those who died in the desert had already died. This is at the end of 40 years. So there's no chronological order over here. And these moved on to life. Thomas Miriam died there. Rashi says, why is the death of Miriam stated next to the passage regarding the red cow? To tell us that just as the sacrifice provides atonement, so does the passing of righteous people bring atonement to the world. Atonement, this is a very also in Kabbalah, you have a lot about this. What is the meaning of this statement that Mis Tzadikim, passing of a tzaddik, brings about atonement to the world? Thomas Shamiyim, and she died there. She died with the divine kiss, as Moshe Rabbeinu did. Why does not P say over here by Moshe Nadan, it says Al Pi Hashem? Because such expression is not respectful from above. However, regarding Adam, it does say Al Pi Hashem, Pashas Al Maseh. So you see, they both, what we call today, the kiss of God. Lo Yeshem Mayin Leida, there was no water. Miriam died, as you can soon see, came because of Miriam, so there was no water. They called out Moshe Adam, they came to Moshe and Adam. Actually says there was no water. From here we derived that the 40 years until now, they had a well from the merit of Miriam. They had the well of Miriam, the Sham here, which is why when she died, it disappeared. Verse number 3, Vayarav Ha'am in Moshe. People argued with Moshe Vayem Elamer. If it would only have been expired the way our brothers expired before God. What does it mean if it only had died? What kind of death they died? By the same death our brothers, meaning by a plague. This teaches us, Rashi says, that the thirst is more degrading than it. Not having to drink, painful dying, kashov for lack of water is a painful death. What means Begva equivalent to the of our brothers? I mean, the death of our brothers is possible to explain the verb meaning when our brothers died. Or so it ought to have been said, Begoiva. Verse number 4, Lama Hisanas Kalashem, why did you bring this entire congregation Lamidba to the desert? Lama Shama Nachnu, that we should all die there without water, will be Irenu and all our animals. Verse number 5, why did you take us out of Egypt? To bring us to bring us to this terrible place. It's not a place where fig trees can grow, grapevines, or pomegranate trees, and there's no water to drink. Now we have no water. moved away from the assembly into the entrance. They went to the entrance of the tent of meeting. And they fell on their faces. And the glory of God appeared before them. And that completes the Chumash for today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We're holding in the 10th and 11th chapter of Tanya. Alter Rebbe is talking about Osius. Sodom Amoris Nivra Ilam. The will was created through 10 utterances. It was created through the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Osius, because the way we talk, the way God, so to speak, spoke, Dvar Hashem, the word of God came in the Torah. Torah is made up of words. These words are made up of Osius, letters, 22 Hebrew alphabetic letters. So these are called Lashon. We call it Lashon Kodesh, the holy language. Because you should realize these are words, these words are living words. Because they're not just regular words, not like we know words, they're dead. These are living words. These words continue to breathe, so to say. Why? Because they have within it, the Osius, they have within it the Hebrew alphabet, which is holy within itself. In truth, however, the supernal letters of speech above, it's higher than the level of the essence of wisdom and an intellect of created beings. You should realize that's why we should always try to say Osius HaTorah. Right? We once spoke about Mishnayos Baal Peh, to say these words by heart. You should know Hebrew words. I know some people struggle with Hebrew. It's not an easy language, but we should try to learn, say words of Torah the way it's written. They differ from the letters of man's thought and speech, which are inanimate and belongs to a level lower than intellect. Alter Rebbe now demonstrate that the supernal letters of speech transcends man's intellect and wisdom. For of course, from the process of the wisdom and intellect was created by the utterance of the letters. When the Eibishter said in the pasuk, one of the Sodom and Amoris, Nasa Adam B'Tzalmeinu. Those words, Nasa, let us make man in our image. This created the concept of physical man and everything in his physical being. Since we're derived from these letters, we should realize Nasa Adam B'Tzalmeinu created man, the soul. But his body, his intellect, his physicality, his seichel, everything that he has was created from those words. So those words have within it even greater than his own intellect, superior to his own intellect. Feel of the or man, possessor of wisdom and intellect, was created even by the divine breath alone. As it's written, he breathed within his nostril a soul of life. And from this breath that was breathed into man, man became a rational being and became a concept of his own rationality, the seichel. That's his rationality, his wisdom, his seichel. So if you understand the Torah, since divine speech and breath created man who possesses wisdom and intellect, who makar chachmas, and then that means that the word of God, the Osius, is the source of my wisdom, and my intellect, which was in the creation of the first man. Contains within it. Adam Shalakis, I mentioned yesterday, the man, primordial man, symbolic in Adam Arishan, in the first man, which has within it the souls of all the righteous people. Shehem Gedela Malchashadish, with the souls of the righteous people are even greater than the ministering angels, whose intellect too is superior to the angels. all came forth from divine speech. The divine speech of God came about the creation of everything. Came about the creation of even the soul ultimately. Man came out of Nas Adam. Let's make man. Soul comes out by Yipa Ba'ap of Nishmas Chaim. He breathed with him from the breath of God. That's was the beginning of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe says an neshama comes from the breath. Just like a person breathes from his essence, so to God breathed, so to say. But ultimately, it came out of those words, by Yipach, Ba'apov, Nishmas Chaim. He breathed within him a soul of life. Those words, those Hebrew letters, we have 4 words, and within those 4 words, you have many letters. Why? The reason is for the transcendence of the supernal letters over the soul. Because these letters are not just letters. These letters are a concept of where the divine life comes into. It comes through these letters. That the letters of God's speech are the effluence. They come through it. They are the conduit. They are the channel which brings about that the divine light can come to where it needs to come to. The power of life was from the motive attributes. Which they are united with the essence and being of God in a perfect unity. Which that they are much greater than all the wisdom that a human being would have. So you have to, that's why we need to connect ourselves to Oisis HaTorah. We need to connect ourselves to the letters of the Torah, to the words of the Torah, because they are much higher in a way than even the greatest wisdom that we can have. And they are termed letters, not in relation to created beings, but in relative to God, the motive attributes himself. The name letters, oisies, which signifies that they are lower than wisdom and intellect. Usually that's when they mean letters, words. Intellect is above letters. Is not applied to them in relation to created beings. They're not called oisies because of us. The explanation earlier, they are far superior created than wisdom and intellect. Rather, this term is applied to them in relative to God's motion attributes, and so much as they are only letters in revelation to these attributes. So the Eibush just expresses his midas hachesed through oisius. Nasa Adam, let us make man. That's midas hachesed. That's the attribute of kindness. That's saying let us make. A concept of kindness is to make, to give. Hein v'hine hein chav beis v'hine hamshacha is the letters are 22 kinds of hamshacha effluences, 22 different channels. That they bring the life force of God, the power different from one another. There is books written on the Kabbalistic meaning of each letter. Not only the letter, the way they're formed. One still said that the letter Aleph is you see the way the letter Aleph is made, a Yud above, a Yud below, and a Vav in between. The Yud above is the godness, the way it's above that. The Vav is the connection, and the Yud below is the way godness comes to below, and that's the Aleph. That's why Aleph stands for Aluf Shalom. Aleph stands for God. That's why the first letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and in the Hebrew alphabet, also in the Ten Commandments, is Anochi, the letter Aleph. It's a big Aleph. So the Aleph has a lot of, and that's why the Aleph is silence. It's a concept of total silence, concept of total oneness. Because this word arose in God's wisdom. The Vrayas Eilam, to create the world, the Chav Beis Mini Hamshachas with 22 letters that are different kinds of effluence that comes down Shachas, the sense. Shein is Dafka. Leipachas You kind of ask why there's 21 letters, why there's not 23 letters. These are 22 lights, 22 conduits, 22 channels, 22 iris. These are the 22 letters that are fixed in the mouth and the tongue. And all this you can find in the book of Yetzirah, the book of formation. And even their written shape of the letter of these utterances as written in the Torah, they indicate the form of the flow. As I'll explain later. So each letter has also a form because it shows, as I said, the Aleph, it shows on the way this concept comes into the world. For the letter, the speech and thought, the human soul, in Amshachas Masecho, is the concept of the flow from the essence, from the intellect and the emotive, from their essence, as it explains other places. And that completes actually the 11th chapter of Shar HaYichud Ve'emunah. My friends, today is the 4th day of the month, which is chapter 23 to 28. 23 to 28. You take those chapters in Tillim, you do the chitas of the day. The Rebbe writes today on the 4th day of Tammuz, one single chassid, a student, who devotes his heart, mind, and soul to Torah and to bolstering Torah affects wonders in a large city, in all the city affairs, in a manner that transcends the natural order by the merit of our patriarchs, the fathers of the world. God bless you all. I wish you all a wonderful day. And amid Shem, I will see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll continue to learn the chitas of the day.
Rabbi